So once you've got them all cut out, and I had another one here already ready to go, you now need to start making each of those slabs. I have already done that off camera and have all my parts and pieces, but as a reminder, I'm going to show you how to make your slabs and then how to effectively cut them so that when you put them together, they all line up perfectly and create 90-degree angled corners. So, first one that I'm going to do is actually going to be the top and bottom as well as the neck. So I'm gonna put those aside for now. Take a wedged piece of clay. So this one has already been wedged off camera. Take a ruler on the left, a ruler on the right, and as a reminder, if you're doing this at your desk, it's gonna get stuck once you roll it, so you need to have a piece of canvas that you can get from underneath the wedging table, or just actually do this at the wedging table. Now, since I'm gonna be doing this piece here, I need to make sure I have enough clay so that it is going to be big enough once it expands and gets flat and rolled out. So I'm only using the thicker rulers, these larger ones. Sometimes there might be thinner rulers in the bins, ignore those. I need one on the left and one on the right. Put the clay in the middle, kind of flatten it a little bit just to get it going, but don't flatten it too much that you're going beyond the actual thickness of that ruler. Remember, that ruler is there to create even thickness of spacing. And then take your rolling pin and keep rolling until it no longer moves, because that is going to be an even thickness. So it's no longer expanding. This now is complete. I will also just recommend you take a rib and just gently kind of go over it and scrape the surface, just kind of compressing everything together, kind of brushing it a little bit, trying not to create indentations, and then flip it over and do the same. Because like, look, you can see on this side, it's a little bit cracked in some places, and it picked up the texture of the mat, which isn't a bad thing. We can actually get rid of that a little bit later, but really we want to compress the clay so that it doesn't crack during construction or firing. Now, I have enough space to actually do maybe both if I position them right, and I do. So now, cut it as straight as possible. With your knife. So there's one piece, and here's the other one. I mean, I can try doing that one again, but it's slightly off, so I'll just do the neck and know I need a second one of those. Afterwards, don't just toss the clay pieces that you've cut off, so like all these, save those. You're gonna have to wedge them so that you can then make new slabs for all the other parts that you need. So now I've got the neck, and I need another one of those, so I will wedge these and then I will cut more. But given I've already done that off camera, I'm not gonna do that. But the next thing you do need to do for the sides, including your top and your bottom, is you need to bevel each and every edge. Now, beveling is cutting this edge, this edge, this edge, and this one at 45-degree angle cuts. Now, this one's gonna be a little bit different, and I'll explain that after showing you how to do this one. So, all sides need to be 45-degree angle cuts or beveled. And the way you're gonna do that is going to take your ruler, and if you need to kind of like re-square this up, re-square it up, especially if it is a little bit softer. You can even just make sure your tool is, or your template fits still. You're gonna take your ruler, come in about 1/4 of an inch from the edge, and then next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna cut at a 45-degree angle. So what that's gonna look like is you're gonna take your knife, put it perpendicular to the table, and here to here will create a 90-degree angle. So we need half of that because rectangles, squares, they all have 90-degree corners. So I'm gonna take this and go from straight down to a slight angle. So it's about halfway. I'm gonna guide that on the ruler and cut all the way through. Also, if your pieces have hardened over time because it's not the first day that you're cutting these or you made them, because right now my clay is still really soft, I recommend putting a thumb down here at the bottom, because when you cut, if it's harder, sometimes that corner comes right off and it tears. But since it's soft right now, it's not a big deal. But again, reminder, so straight down would be 90, so halfway would be 45. Make sure you keep that same 45-degree angle cut all the way through. And then don't toss this, because you can use this later to actually conjoin your pieces together. And then do the other side. So about 1/4 of an inch, 45-degree angle, keep that same thing throughout. 45-degree angle, as well as that 1/4 inch from that edge. Keep that angle. If your hand shifts, it's not gonna connect entirely correctly. 1/4 of an inch, 45-degree angle. So if you did it correctly, you should see it almost kind of creates a trapezoid, or you see that there is a ledge, there's a slight ramp. That's gonna work perfectly because when we combine two 45s together, that's gonna make a 90-degree corner for our bottle. So I'm gonna put this one aside. So all sides, so the tops and the bottom, the left and the right side, all need it all the way around. For your neck though, your neck is only going to need it on two sides, the left and the right. But you need to do one more thing before just starting to cut. So I labeled or marked this one here on the left. I flip it over. Flipping it over is absolutely necessary, and I'm gonna do it on the other side afterwards, and you'll see why. So we'll do 1/4 of an inch, same thing. Keep that 45-degree angle, and then flip it over, right? Because it's right here on this side. Now I need to do this one on the back side. Still 1/4 of an inch, 45-degree angle. Now, over time, if you leave this sitting, it's going to get really hard and you're not going to be able to bend it. So if that's the case, wrap it in water, make sure it gets soft enough so that you're able to actually roll it into itself. So now that I've done it on the opposite sides, this 45 and this 45 are going to line up with each other. And I will score and slip this together. And now join them at those angles. I can also get a little bit more aggressive with it. So I'm gonna put my thumb on the inside and I'm gonna smear the seam away as well as the inside. Blend it all together and clean it up. So this will be the neck of the bottle, this part right here. Okay, we'll come back to this later because this gets attached at the end, but I just wanted to show you that not all of your pieces get cut all the way around, like the sides, as well as your front. I forgot to say the front also gets cut all the way around the sides too. So next we'll be putting together the actual box and how to join them properly.